Who won, Eoin?
Klopp won last night. I need to go back and watch this full conversation in total. It wasn't up on YouTube when I was checking last night already. What happened before going to Klopp? Because I definitely got the sense, listening to Roy Keane before they went over to Klopp last night, that he was making the point that Liverpool just haven't been amazing so far this season, that they have had elements of sloppiness. And he could be 100% right in saying that. Personally, I disagreed with that. I thought they were absolutely outstanding last night. So when I see Jurgen Klopp sitting there and having a pop right back at Roy Keane, I'm reaching for the popcorn immediately, because I'm like, actually, this is going to be interesting, because I think he's been really harsh on your team over the course of their performance last night. I think, other than the Andy Robertson mistake, I thought they were amazing. I thought they were absolutely brilliant. Now, it's kind of like that moment when a kid in class says something at the very wrong time, when the teacher walks in and they get in trouble for it. I've never seen Roy Keane in that position before. I never expected Roy Keane to ever be in that sort of position. And he was a little bit humble, I'm not going to lie. Now, it did take a couple of minutes, and then, you know, he got back to himself a little bit. But at that moment, Roy Keane is like, I did not want Jurgen Klopp to hear what I said there, because maybe he felt that the overarching theme of last night was how brilliant Liverpool were, and that one Andy Robertson slip was exactly that.
Well, a couple of things, right? Pre-match, I was looking at the Liverpool fans going, geez, Roy Keane praising Liverpool is really taking his war against Alex Ferguson a bit too far. So the Liverpool fans were, and then afterwards, they're like, look at you, we got you, we got you, we got you. Do we not want the pundits not to care about what the managers say? Like, we do. Too many of them are related to the managers that they're giving out about, or supposed to be critiquing, or supposed to be analysing, or they played with, or they are best friends with, or they are still playing golf with, or they see on the after-dinner circuit, or they are financially involved with at some level. But with Roy Keane, at least he doesn't seem to care about what anybody thinks. Now, the other side of that is fair play to Jurgen Klopp for coming on and actually having a go at them, because you actually very rarely see that, and you very rarely see anybody. So I'm torn between, like, I don't want Keane to in any way be biting his tongue about any of the other managers. And I don't want him to bite his tongue about Liverpool either. Like, you can't look at the first game against Leeds and say that they were at the same level that they were at last season, when they were, like, Van Dijk was sloppy in that game, clearly. The Andy Robertson mistake is a mistake. It's all right to call it a mistake. I mean, like, was he not also praising them? Like, was there not a lot of praise being doled out by Keane?
No, like, I think everything you're saying there is right. I just find that when Keane was then put back on the spot, he was like, I only meant there was only sloppy elements of the performance. Like, he could have doubled down on it and said, I think you were sloppy so far this season. And he could have well have been right. I'm not saying that Keane was wrong in anything he was saying. And I totally agree. Like, nobody wants Roy Keane to tone this down. Nobody wants Jurgen Klopp to tone this down. Like, this is exactly what you want to see. And, like, if we're going to have Jamie Carragher sitting there in studio waxing lyrical about Liverpool every single week, then, I mean, I think it's always no harm to have a little bit of an antithesis to that, sitting right there in studio and Roy Keane giving out about Liverpool. But he was the very opposite of that. 90% of what he said was glowing in Liverpool's praise last night. And you know what? Maybe Jurgen Klopp is getting a little bit too prickly in that situation. Maybe he's a little bit too precious. But that is the reason why Liverpool have been great, is that they've created this unbelievable siege mentality around this.
Why? So exactly. So why so precious, do you think?
Because this is the most special group of players he's ever worked with. He probably believes that they're on course to become one of the greatest Premier League teams of all time. Nobody in that camp is asking serious existential questions about this squad, and I know that's not what Roy Keane was doing. And I think that, I guess Jurgen Klopp is like, all those questions can only be asked and answered by us, because we are the kings of England at the moment. How dare you, Mr. former Manchester United player, come in and say something about us? Like, there may be a little bit of, I guess, a trigger reaction from Klopp, in a certain sense, that if a journalist says something similar in a press conference, if Jeff Shreve says something similar when he's been questioned on Sky Sports, his reaction is like, no, screw you, I'm really happy with my team's performance. And if he's going to go out and give his players hugs and show them all the love and care that he's always shown them, then he's got to fight their corner as well, even when there isn't much of a fight to put up, even when the criticism that they're getting is actually fair. Like, I think sometimes as a manager, you probably need to park that a little bit. And, like, I'm all for, you know, like, sometimes I struggle. I did struggle to warm to Jurgen Klopp at the start, but I think on last night's evidence, I think he definitely won, and probably the highlight of Klopp in England so far.